turned it back on. Now can you hear us?
Can hear you, yes.
Yes.
Good, okay. Good.
Who's there around the table? I'm trying to see. This is a small picture.
You guys have to look in that corner if you want her to see you.
I know. I love the back of my head, yeah. Oh,
Ardell.
okay.
Oh, that's the camera, that's
Yeah.
not the camera.
Yeah, I know, I look at that and think they're seeing us, but no, they're
Right,
seeing,
no,
they're seeing the
nice
back of
backdrop,
us.
Alan's here, good.
Oh, good,
Oh, hey,
Hey, Ellen.
Yay!
good.
Yay.
Yay.
Is it 4? It's 4. Let's do this.
Okay.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Let's see. Welcome and roll call. Will everybody just say their name so I can get them written down?
Alan?
And
Julie?
Ann Rude.
Mary Dell, Gunn.
Here, hi, Joy.
And Dave.
Come join us.
Perfect. No Joy yet?
Yep,
I
just
got here.
She's here.
Hey, Joy. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
I figured out video here, so, what about, approval of January? We didn't, at our last meeting, we never approved our January minutes. I can't remember who took them, but they looked good.
Joy did.
Joy
You
did.
And you got it early, so we all
And
saw
you
really
did the
early.
February minutes too. Any
Yeah.
additions or corrections? I think we did that during email, but anything else?
You got it away pretty quickly. Yeah.
Okay. And so, how about a motion to approve?
I so move. I second.
All those in favor? Perfect.
Aye.
Thank you. All right. Do we have any public? Who's that in the hat? Is that Mike?
That's mine.
Hey, Mike,
Hello,
how's it
Mike.
going?
I'm waiting.
Okay.
I'm good.
Well, you're not really public, but any public comment? No. Perfect. Let's move on. We've just got some things to tick off that have been in progress, and so they're kind of still on our regular agenda. Any update on Northwest Energy solar projects? Anything there?
We're still waiting. We got the inspection done on the one, it's all complete. So that one, the last thing that has to occur is Northwest Energy has to reprogram the meter. There's a little bit of paperwork left, and that one should be done at the recycling center. We're still waiting for the inspection on the electrical at Public Works Shop, but it's in the same state. Everything's done. Once the stickers get put on, then they'll reprogram the meter, and so we're close to the finish line on those two, and I haven't heard anything on the pending application. Alan might know something about that, I'm not sure. Feels like those don't come out until like May, I think, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, that's when they've told us in the past, and no, I have not heard anything either.
Okay.
So,
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for being on top of that, Mike, and Alan as well. Who knows in this climate, this political climate, what's going to happen and what's not. So let's just hope for the best. Anything else on that?
nope.
All right, let's move on to Arbor Day, Earth Day with the Parks Board. Is there any movement there?
I can provide a tiny update. We're probably not going to be doing anything around Earth Day, but we are going to try to combine Arbor Day and Parks Cleanup, I think. And Mike has an update on, we got the $850 grant, but the other ones have sort of
They're
gone away.
froze right now.
What was that?
They're froze.
Yeah.
And it'll,
Oh,
we'll just have to wait and see. I have a feeling they'll probably remain froze
Right.
for the,
is that from the Arbor Day Foundation?
The
no,
ACC?
Arbor
Oh,
Day.
that's
The Arbor Day, the
They
way
were-
it all kind of transpired was we put in for the IRA grant through the DNRC
Okay.
and the project grant through the DNRC. Those are actually federally funded programs administered by the state. That money got froze.
Yeah.
When I spoke to the Arbor Day people about a grant, they basically said, well, see how you do on those, and then if you need some infill, if they don't get it all, then get back to us. I guess I could kind of, I will touch base with the Arbor Day gal and, tell her our situation and, see if there's any interest. And we're still gonna move forward with the removal part that we can do.
Right.
Where we'll be short at would be trying to plant back some of those trees. Not all of them would be candidates to plant back, because
Right.
they failed because it wasn't a good location
Right,
for a tree.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we're not gonna try again, but there's definitely some places where we would. So I will reach out to Shannon, at Arbor Day and explain kind of where we're at and that we're still trying to move forward, and if they have some money available, that might be handy.
When is Arbor Day? I have no clue.
I think, I don't know when it officially is, do you know, Dave? Or do you know when Arbor Day officially is? Most towns just kind of say, this is our Arbor Day.
I think it's-
whatever.
I think
it's April 22nd usually.
I thought that was
That's
birthday.
Earth Day.
It's usually till snow here.
Oh,
Yeah.
We
May.
don't-
It's April
We did
22nd
June.
this year, designated day, but that's a little earlier for us to do anything with.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So we'll just pick a nice day.
Right.
Okay, Gotcha.
Right. So, and the Parks Board is working on that, so.
Just to clarify, Corey, are you doing minutes?
Oh, I forgot. I was just going back to March
Yeah.
secretary volunteer. A
lot of us.
Unless anybody else would like to volunteer, anybody?
I can do it, but I won't get to them until right before the next meeting, which is what I always do anyway.
Well, if you wouldn't mind, Julie, I just am working, my laptop is goofy, and so I'm working off my iPhone. If you wouldn't mind, okay?
Nope.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. So, anything else on Arbor Day with the Parks Board? Still, yeah, still in progress.
I just have a question because I have a vision of cleaning up the dog park poop on that day. Is that only, what do I need to do to make that an official event? Put a sign up on the, who am I talking to? I don't know who I'm talking to. Do I need to put a sign up, or how does that make an official event?
You wanna have like a volunteer event where
Yeah,
people show up?
exactly. Because the poop, the
That's
snow
not-
would have melted, the poop is
Oh,
all gonna
yeah.
go into the ground.
Yeah.
Well, so that is, Parks Cleanup is a Parks Board, initiative, I guess.
Okay,
And it usually happens around Earth Day, but again, you
Too
know,
late,
it's
too
usually
early.
too wet and
Mhm.
et cetera, we can't plant trees. And so we were thinking we would, you know, do the Parks Cleanup and then have the ceremony where we plant a tree, and Dave reads the proclamation about Arbor Day, and, we're probably not doing public trees. Are we, no, we're
No,
not,
we're
no,
not.
not with this grant, yeah, so.
well, in theory, I could pick a Saturday that looks like it might be warm and put a sign up on the gate and put it on
The question
Facebook.
was, would that just be the same day as the cleanup on all the other parks? You would just head up that
Right.
particular park cleanup. So
Right.
somebody's doing Lions, somebody's doing all.
So I
these.
think the
You
way
could
it's
probably do
happened.
two. You could probably do one now with the.
Right, yeah,
and
might
then
not
do
wanna
one
wait
in
that
June,
long. Yeah.
Right.
Cause it always kinda needs it.
Yeah.
I think what happened was,
Indeed.
in the past, everybody would meet at Lions Park and pick, you know, go, get in their group to go to whichever park they were gonna clean up, and to go do that, and then we would come back for, you know,
Refreshments?
people had
Oh.
booths, and, yeah, we had some refreshments. So that all happened around Earth Day, but sometimes, the weather is not good and,
All right.
so that'll probably happen,
Okay,
maybe not until end of May, June, I'm not
Okay.
sure.
Could I say something? I think
Yeah.
Ann is asking if, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ann, you're saying, could we just declare a day, or could you just put up a sign and say, who can meet up here, and put up on Facebook, just kind of a spontaneous dog park users thing, and as far as I'm
I-
concerned, that's a great idea.
And I like the
Um,
idea of adopting the dog park, the Double Ditch Dog Park. As one of those that you clean up and sign up people for. I mean,
That's a
If
great idea.
if it hasn't been on the list before, it should have been.
I
So
don't
yeah, that's a
remember
great
it,
idea. Yeah.
But it needs help, so.
Yeah.
Well, so Van Dyke's in the
Maybe
same
go
boat.
to the dog, or go to the park board meeting and just say, you wanna have a cleanup
Well, you
weekend.
would be there anyway.
I'll be there.
I will offer anecdotally that it does seem to have helped this last week with the can up there.
Yes, my husband commented on that.
Is it getting
What's the
cold,
can?
No, I was there this morning and it's still,
It's,
that.
yeah, I was gonna drag it over just so it doesn't, so it's light enough that you can still pick it up and dump it into the other one. So anyway, but yeah, we'll keep an eye on it.
Oh, that makes sense.
okay, well, thank you.
Okay.
Okay,
It's
perfect.
getting faster than the other one was.
Better than it was, that's our goal.
Who empties that can up there?
We put it in, there's one that's picked up by the garbage people outside of the
Right.
park. This is the new
Right.
one that Willie put inside of the park, and it seems to have helped with people picking it up and putting poop there, as opposed to in the bags where people bring in their plastic bags for people to use to pick up poops, and then they last about 2 hours before somebody starts putting the poops back in those bags and ruins it all. So.
Okay. Thank you. All right, let's move on. Recycle bag committee update. Where are we at here?
After a brief meeting, we have now decided that we would like to give the bags that we still have, away at the farmer's market. So, I'm usually going, I can make sure that they have the bags, and, I'll put them back in the shed if they're not all given away, but, we'll just
People can
keep
use them right
trying.
away?
Yeah, people can use them as they're shopping that
And those
day.
are good size for farmer's market, actually.
I think
for
so, yeah.
Produce, yeah.
Are these the black ones or the green ones?
These are green,
The
and
green
we
ones.
have red
And,
ones.
and we still have some of the
Still
black
have-
with the elk on,
Oh,
don't
we
we?
do?
Okay.
Oh,
Oh, maybe not, maybe those all went to,
food pantry?
Yeah.
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 So we have some red ones. They're a little smaller than the green ones, I
Mhm.
think, but, yeah. Mhm.
Has
I will make
anybody
sure
been
that-
in contact with the Bozeman folks to see how that, I haven't seen anything in the newspaper about how that, how
I looked
that
it up today.
bag
And what,
initiative is going.
where it stands right now is, it went to the Montana Supreme Court said that, how they overturned the ruling that the city couldn't
Right.
enact an ordinance like that. The Montana Supreme Court overruled that, saying even though it's a citizen's initiative, you can't do it. So there's still another, it's still in courts. This one was filed saying that it inflicted with the right for a city to maintain a healthy environment. So this is another lawsuit that's in progress. So
Okay,
at this point, they can't do it. So that's where it is now.
okay. Well, anyway. All right, thank you. Anything else
No,
on reusable bag?
Nope.
Anything? Okay, recycling center, what's going on there and how's it going and anything there?
Well, I think it's doing great. As some of you who are, I reluctantly joined Facebook so I could report numbers. And I put hatch marks up on a piece of paper at the recycling center, and one day we had 136 people, a Saturday in February. That's great. So we've been just trying to keep track that way and reporting it on Facebook, and people seem to appreciate that. And when I don't have it up, they say, where's the piece of paper? You know.
Oh.
So I think 136 people in February is fantastic. Okay.
Wow.
So, but then I guess when I was here a month ago, I talked about this program they have over in Teton County, Idaho. And it turns out I kind of talked to the transfer station first when I should have talked to the recycling trash people first. But I called my niece and nephew in Victor, Idaho, and I said, well, how do you like curbside recycling and trash? Because we don't use it. It's too expensive. It's $60 a month, $720 a year. Because we just go there, a young family, 2 kids, we just go to the transfer station twice a month for $5.
Yeah.
So, I've got, the information here, but anecdotally, my 30-something niece and nephew with 2 kids don't use curbside recycling.
So it's an option.
It's an option.
Yeah.
Yep. And,
In the transfer station.
and so now it costs us $72 a year to recycle here, as opposed to $720. I know it's not trash, but,
Yeah.
so, that's what I have on RAD Recycling. It's on the website, and I've got the money, but it's hard to see on my phone. It's expensive.
Wow.
So, anyway, that's my report. They don't use it.
And so that's a situation where they can choose to take their own stuff to the transfer station.
They go twice a month.
Okay,
With trash and recycling for $10 total,
Yeah.
as opposed to
right,
60.
yeah,
So, whatever.
yeah.
But I'm gonna, talk to him again, and, I might go see my niece and nephew and just drive over there and get a little ride along with them.
Mhm.
But
I have been to that transfer station.
it's 12 acres, 20 employees.
Yeah, so, you drive in and they weigh your car, and ours weighs the same when we come back out again, because we never had that much. But, then you go to all the big dumpsters and do your own sorting. Yeah, so, and it seemed like it was being used.
Yep.
So,
Yes.
And did your friends in Victor, Idaho say that they liked the transfer station? And I'm just wondering how clean everybody gets their bottles and such, and whether bears are an issue if you're gonna hang on to your own recycle and it's not that clean and it's in your garage.
I talked to the lady a month ago who runs the transfer station. She sounded like me, kind of a bitch. And, I'm not making any friends over there, but people are cleaning out their spaghetti and peanut butter jars and cleaning out their milk. And we're making inroads on that, but she's of the same mind that it's hard you gotta keep an eye on everybody.
Yeah.
And,
what to do there, I would
yeah,
say.
it's hard because there's only 2 of us. So Kyle's inside, doing his thing, and I'm outside, and there's only 2 of us to keep. But we do what we can. We try and, but it's not so much supervising as training them in the right way to do this.
Yeah.
And I think we made some inroads on cleanliness and rinsing out things. So, but they have a 4-year-old son, so of course they love going to the transfer station because there's trucks everywhere.
Yeah.
So,
Unloaders.
I'll talk to them again and ask them if they have any concerns about, what you mentioned and report back.
Thanks, Ann.
No.
That's interesting.
And on to the next
Okay, let's
topic.
move on to Republic, contract negotiations. Maybe this is Dave?
We have, it's out, we have not yet received any responses that have been forwarded on to me, but Lonnie's been out for a few days also.
Okay. I would like to, remind you, if this is at all possible, in our, energy conservation plan, there is a section on, recycling and solid waste. And number 8 is public service contract, if you have it in front of you, which I happen to do. But it also asks that, first of all, that Republic charge by weight rather than by cans, because and that would encourage other people to recycle, reuse, and compost, and it would allow more leeway as to how people are charged. And the Republic has refused to do this in the past because it's a hassle for them. They got to weigh every can every time. So, but just it's in our energy conservation plan. So if that could be at least a topic of conversation, that would be nice. The other thing that would be nice to put in that Republic contract negotiation, or if it's not Republic, whatever your waste contract negotiation, I'm going to read quote here, require Republic Services or whomever receives the contract to submit all documentation to justify any changes in rates to city residents. And I don't know if Dave, does Republic all of a sudden, I mean, Northwest Energy just bumps up the rates and says, well, we have to charge this much more now and whatever. Does Republic do that, or is it a solid charge for that contract period? Same charge.
My best recollection, and keep in mind, this is the contract that's coming to an end. So your inputs on conversation points are being heard not only by me, but by Mike. So that'll be a forthcoming contract. My understanding is they have factored in, it's an overall weight, meaning they don't weigh each individual can, but they've calculated it so that they know the amount of trash we get is, 60 or 70% of residents as opposed to all of them. And then the bump has just been like 5% a year is what was built into their bumps once they calculated it.
So it's a set amount.
They revisit the number of cans yearly, and then there's a set amount that's an increase just to account for inflation, et cetera.
Okay,
And,
so
like all of that's on the table. We'll start out by selecting a vendor, and then sit down and talk about them with them, and then that'll be a new contract at that point.
okay, thank you.
And those contracts are for how many years?
The last one was a 5-year, and I anticipate this would probably be similar.
Okay.
And there was a question if the negotiations are in progress. What's actually in progress right now is the RFP.
Oh,
So
okay.
the request for
Sure.
people who want the business,
Okay.
we'll pick the winner, and then we'll go into negotiations
Got it.
from there.
Okay.
Thank
And this
you.
will fall under Mike's purview as Public Works Director. And he's got a little more experience in this realm than the average Joe, so I think we'll do well. And like I said, up to this point, he and I have both had several conversations with Republic about what we'd like to do. And like I said, we're entering the spot where it's appropriate to talk about, are we picking up cardboard separately, or, what things are maybe curbside or what things are maybe not. And I hate this, I know that that's a little bit of a grumble point when I say cardboard, but as I look at the articles that Corey brought to us a month or two ago, and as I listen to the reports from Ann of the stuff that's coming in and what's usable and what's not usable, it feels to me like the thing where we're actually accomplishing something other than making ourselves feel better is probably cardboard, where we're making the dent, the biggest dent. And so if we could increase that immense, you know, rather than 120, get it up to the 2,000, I don't know, it's just, these are all things jumbling around in the fan right now. And like I said, I don't mean that to be negative. I'm all on board, but I, like Corey, have read some of the different articles out. And like I said, if it's something that was a temporary, if the answer was, hey, we can't really do plastics right now, but a year from now, we think we'll be able to do them again and we'll be able to deal with dirty and whatnot, I'd say there's a benefit because we're getting people into the habit, even if it's a stopgap till we get there. But when they say, we don't know if this is, you know, the real answer is to get people to use stuff other than plastics, and we're actually creating a false sense of security and stuff. I think it's just fair for us to sit back and look at it objectively and say, where are we making dents, and where are we just pretending to make ourselves feel better?
So
Good point.
is like cardboard an option with some companies, or are you talking more the recycling center?
It's all on the table. Like I
Okay.
said,
Okay.
it's all there. There is not a, yeah, there isn't, I guess there isn't an easy answer, but it's all there. And like I said, I'm really, how do we make a dent, and how do we keep stuff out of the landfill? How do we fix things other than just pretending to ourselves?
Well, Corey, you mentioned in the energy conservation plan, one suggestion was weighing. That seems pretty cumbersome. Is that an option?
If you're talking about weighing the individual cans,
I just can't even imagine.
it
But
would be,
would another option in that realm be different sized cans?
That is something we have talked to them about.
Okay.
But presumably there would be, so we had some initial discussions with Republic a year ago, and our individual billing opens that up, but there's also been some pushback from the front office is what that takes and what that accounts for.
Yeah.
And then the other problem we have that I'm a little bit worried about is we have people with one can that have 3 trash cans full of plastic bags sitting next to that one
And that's
can. And
the
so
only
how many
problem.
people are gonna say, oh, we want the small can, and yet
And
they've
then,
always got overflow on it.
That would be a problem. They have to enforce.
We'll sit, like
Yeah.
I said, we'll sit down. Republic certainly has the best information,
Mhm.
and they have to extrapolate out, you know, we did this many cans and this was our weight, trash is up or trash is down. But it's, like I said, once we get it narrowed down to who we're having that conversation with, I look forward to those conversations. And like I said, we will include you guys in and probably have them come and make a presentation and have you guys throw out what ifs and stuff there. Because I said, we want to keep you involved in that process.
Thank you, Dave. The next thing, that's a good segue for the next thing on the agenda, which is the drive-through. And what I meant by that was the drive-through at the recycling center. It sounds like the recycling center will probably, hopefully, stay there. Curbside recycling is probably, according to Ann, a kind of in the distance, perhaps. And so if you look at if you've been to the recycling center, and it's a congestive nightmare. I still think I would like to just keep this on everybody's radar. So if it's possible to make some sort of a drive-through there so that people drive through, drop off their recycling, and not back out, you know what I'm talking about, Ann. It's a mess. So anyway, if we could just keep it on the radar, especially as budgets are being developed for the next fiscal year. Comments?
I met last week and we talked about it a little bit. We are gonna look at, we both kind of agree that even with the new addition of the change in the fence down there, it still isn't enough to really have a drive-through, but we can definitely make it better probably than it is now. And once the snow's gone and, you know, it gets dried out, we're gonna kind of get out there and look at that and come up with some ideas.
Well, people are pretty good, you know, if there are 3 or 4 cars inside the fence, people will wait. So maybe we just put up a sign that, you know, 3 cars at a time or whatever works, you know, it could be 5. I
Well,
don't
you'd
know.
need a traffic cop to make that happen, and we
Yeah.
don't have enough personnel.
Not Leo, Leo couldn't do it.
Heck, Corey knows, she's laughing.
What about Leo?
So,
Well,
Okay.
thanks, Mike. You've been down there, I'm sure, at recycling hours, and sometimes it's just, it's a nightmare. It's just an accident waiting to happen. And so, anyway, if we could just keep it on our radar, I would like to do that. I'm going to keep it on the agenda and keep bugging you about it, everybody about it. Okay?
Do we know how much land the city owns up to the road behind or to the east? To the road? Is there a decent?
We gained a fair amount of ground with the exchange in property. It's more of the characteristics of the ground and the fact that there's a giant stormwater pipe that we have to work around there. We can't just shave that hill off because the pipe will then be exposed. It's gonna be in the way. So,
Okay.
To answer Deborah's question, we do know how much it is. It's actually a different amount than it was a year ago. And all of that has just been recorded, like literally and done within the last 2 weeks. So Mike's aware of that and looking for weather conditions, and he and Kyle are working on and making a recommendation on how to improve upon it.
Excellent. Thank you, Mike. Mayor?
you bet.
Okay, let's move on. Fire department solar projects. I think Alan was taking a look at this, and Alan, do you have a comment here?
Just that, like many other things we mentioned in the meeting today, funds are frozen. And so I, every couple of months, reach out to Kyla Mackey at the DEQ, but that's the current status.
Thank you. Okay, anything on, we had Sue Bug from Carbon County Resource Council present on community solar. It's working through the legislature. Is there anything that anybody knows about that? Is it still out there?
Yep, it went through the Senate, and it's in its first reading in the House now, so it stayed alive over the break. And it has, well, but it was a bipartisan vote, and I don't think there was much contest, so it should.
Wow, I did not hear that. That's excellent news.
Yeah.
It
So
is
that is
good
good.
news. They nominated
Okay.
it last year,
Yeah, they were,
or last 2 years ago.
That's super. Okay. We do have a Living It with Wildlife Forum that's going to be put on by the Beartooth Front Community Council and a community forum rather. And again, it's going to be primarily about bear awareness and our bear issues here in town and in our county. Actually, it's the whole county. Anything new? One thing I wanted to know was, I think it would be a great idea, and I suggested it to the forum folks if they have the Republic contact there. And is that Ryan?
Yes, on Ryan?
Okay, I think you gave it to me, but I don't have his contact. Hey, Mayor, would you mind sending me his contact information again, or somebody?
We can do that. The other thing I will add on the Bear Aware, after a conversation with Matt Heaton, and he had kind of said the attempts to start it in the community had died on the vine, which we thought was an interesting response, given that we had designated a city representative, which was Mike, and he never heard anything from it. So I spun it up, and BR down at Yellowstone Wildlife Sanctuary is now getting behind it. She's a little southern firecracker that'll make sure that moves forward and gets done. So there's been 2 or 3 things that have come up. There's a grant opportunity we've identified. They're actually designating a whole month to it. So, I think it's good to, I had not, in those conversations, I'd looped in our local resources. I had not looped in Republic, at all, but,
I think I'd add to that, you know, I looked through that grant opportunity that's out there, and, you know, a year ago when I first got here and the bear guy contacted me, Red Lodge really needs to get this community bear committee going. We've talked about it, and these other things are great, but that will be the backbone of anything that happens here, and that is how you pull in Republic, or, there's some money out there, real money, for communities like us. One of the major components to getting that money is having a committee.
Okay.
You gotta have something, and so, I just, you know, I feel like it's a community thing. I don't think it's a city thing per se. I think a person from the city should be on it. I don't think the city needs, I don't think I need to organize the committee. It needs to happen though.
Do you know what towns have a bear committee?
What's
And
that?
do you know what towns, cities have a bear committee?
I do.
Valier, Conrad,
Okay, Cheryl, Valier, and,
Conrad, probably
Conrad.
West Yellow. I mean,
okay,
they're not, I'm sure Missoula has one.
all right, didn't know that.
Well, perhaps the
This is-
forum
that,
can get that
put Shoto
started.
on that list makes me, I have a very high level of confidence in.
This is
Yeah,
the
but
goal of the forum, is to create awareness and to get, and an output would be to gather together a committee. I know there's several people already who are just wildly interested. And so I think that would be, rather than just an informational forum, it is an action forum, so that something will happen as a result of that. And thanks for that
Do you
suggestion
date
about
for
the
that,
wildlife sanctuary. Pardon me?
Do they have a date scheduled for that? This is the first
I
time
believe
hearing
it's-
of that.
It's April 12th, as I understand it. Saturday, April 12th, and it'll be in the morning. And you'll see posters and flyers coming out about that. Okay? And Mike will definitely get you on board, if not speaking at it.
Yeah, we need somebody to kind of pick up the reins and drive it, and get it going. And
Yes.
maybe the FWP guy was gonna do that, but he's not.
No,
So-
they didn't, that's why, and I asked BR if she would take it and run and head it up, and she indicated she would, because that gets it back into community rather than we're happy to support it, but I agree with Mike, it's not a city function.
And was this
Correctly.
woman at, Yellowstone Wildlife Sanctuary?
Pardon? Her name is BR Walker?
Okay. And she said she might be interested in,
Oh, no, she said absolutely she would,
Great,
all we
okay.
need to do is enable her at this point.
okay, so at the
They,
forum,
they
that would be.
have education, they have all sorts of things, that's why
Okay.
I'm hearing this and thinking, boy, if they haven't reached out to her, it sounds to me like we ought to get her and Ryan both there for the 12th if possible. I don't know
Mhm.
if Dick already has who he's got lined up for that. Corey, is it you or who's he got there?
I can't remember who they have lined up. It's Fish and Wildlife is primarily going to be presenting. The forum is just going to just provide the facility and the means to get people there. And Fish and Wildlife is putting it together. They have several people. I believe they have people from the Bear Aware program, which, Mike, you're probably well aware of. But that's I think it's a program that originated in British Columbia. If I could be wrong, but it's an organized program for communities to take and run. And so anyway, that's all I know. I'll keep you in the loop as I know more. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Next thing, sustainability board terms. I believe that Deb and Alan and I are up for another 2-year term. And Deb has indicated she's willing to hang in there a little bit longer. Is that right, Deb?
Correct.
Yay, thank you. I am willing to hang in there, but I would really like someone who to co-chair or to vice chair or something, because I've been doing this for quite a while, and I think we need fresh blood. So is there anybody already there who is willing to kind of share the co-chair with me or share responsibilities or vice chair? Oh my gosh, don't everybody volunteer at once. Okay, think about it. I'm going to bug you about it next time.
Yeah. Okay.
And Alan, doggone it, Alan?
Yeah.
Are you serious about stepping down?
Yes, I am. Thank you. It's been a very interesting last 2 years, and I appreciate all the opportunities and support. But I think the time has come for me to move on to other topics.
Well, thank you so much for everything you've done for the city of Red Lodge and the Sustainability Board. We want to keep you on retainer if we can, so that if we ever need another grant written or another contact, you've got all those wonderful contacts with the DEQ and blah blah blah, and could we kind of keep you in the loop? Is that okay?
Yes,
Would you be
absolutely. I would
willing?
love that. Yes, absolutely.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we do have an opening, if not a couple, on the Sustainability Board. So I would like to encourage people to reach out to anybody they know.
Corey?
Yes.
I also remembered that we used to have Green Team high school student members. And I think we ought to do it again. I think Kate Belinda is still head of the Green Team. We could even get 3 young people, I
I've
mean,
talked to Kate. I've talked to Kate several times about this, and she said the problem is that the Green Team, the kids that are interested in this, are also do everything else in school.
Yeah.
And so maybe it's just, I know you've been kind of a liaison with them before, Deb. Would you be willing to reach out to
Sure.
Kate again and see if we could? We write good recommendations for colleges for kids, and this is a wonderful thing to put on their resume, and it's not too time consuming or demanding.
I think what the team liked was being able to choose a project and run with it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think I'll approach, definitely I'll send an email or a letter and ask her to, maybe even we could come and I'd be willing to go to the school and just do a pitch for what we do. And how often you'd be expected to be at a meeting and all that, so.
And also talk about some of the things that some of the initiatives that they've done in the past. They've been very, very active in all our Earth Day celebrations they've had. They also took the water filler, water filler stations. Mm-hmm. They have that one downtown as well as at several schools.
Yeah.
So they've really done a great job, and
I think that kind of thing is, kind of a project that they could work on, that would fulfill our needs for them to work on a project and their needs to have a project to work on and get credit and experience.
Oh, thank you, Deb. Thanks for reaching out again to Kate Belinda.
Yeah,
She's been great.
she has been.
Okay, anything else on that? All right, I'm on to new business. Again, I put down, energy conservation plan goals. Again, our energy conservation plan is kind of our Bible. It's a living document. It was revised in 23 and updated in 23. I think there's a lot of things, if you want to look through this, I've got one right here. If you want to look through this, and of course it's online, but I'm hoping that next month people would come up with some personal goals of things that they'd like to work on that are in the energy conservation plan. And I remember I volunteered, and I looked back in my notes to figure out when I volunteered, and I couldn't find it. But I volunteered to take a look at the employee handbook and make sure that sustainability practices were in the employee handbook. And I sadly have not done that yet, and I'm willing to take that on. I think there's a number of things we can do in recycling, as far as public education, working on like recycler of the month, or all that kind of stuff that are suggestions in here. There's a lot of recycling things that we can assist the recycling center on. So if you wouldn't mind, everybody's got homework. Try and see if you can come up with something that you feel passionate about or could feel passionate about, and would be willing to take on either individually or as a partnership, or, it doesn't have to be somebody on the sustainability board. It could be, a community member, anybody. Just what would you like to, where would you like to see something progress? Is that okay?
Yep, sounds good.
All right. That's going to be on our next agenda, so be aware.
Since I reluctantly joined Facebook, I'll probably continue posting and taking pictures, and, since I'm there, I might as well just keep going. But
What
that's a good idea.
What Facebook page is that, Ann?
I don't have one yet. I mean, I joined and I put the Red Lodge Buzz and posted how many people we had, but it was just a Red
good.
Lodge Buzz. But I'm
Perfect.
thinking about just doing the extra step to talk about what you make it a people thing, and but keep posting the Red Lodge Buzz, because that got a lot of response.
Sure. And Red Lodge is a Facebook town.
That could be a green team thing for Ann. Green team could help Ann set that up.
Oh, yeah.
Real cool site.
They're busy. Kate Belinda's directing a play, among other things, right now, so I mean, that's the thing. Busy people are busy.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, does anybody have anything else that they'd like to discuss today?
Thank you, Alan. Alan's off, I guess, yeah.
Oh, Alan, yeah, we are gonna miss him. 2 assignments, energy conservation plan, and possibly some new sustainability board members, including the green team. Okay?
All right.
Dave, does that be advertised?
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
With her, because I'm looking at as I'm looking at the page, I have some uncertainty about. So we've got 1, 2, 3 that show they expired in 2025. We've got 2 that expire in 2026 and 1 that expires in 2027.